So this just happened. Donald Trump has lost control of Mar-a-Lago. Not tomorrow. Not hypothetically. Right now, a federal judge issued an emergency seizure order just minutes ago. And as if that wasn't explosive enough, Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha himself, has broken his legendary silence on Trump in a way that's sending shockwaves through Wall Street and Washington at the same time. It honestly sounds unreal. But according to court filings and federal confirmations, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, working alongside federal authorities, has just carried out what legal experts are calling the most dramatic property seizure in modern American political history. And once you hear what Buffett said about Trump's business empire, you'll understand why this moment changes everything. Because this isn't just about one luxury property in Florida. This is about the collapse of Trump's entire power structure, financial, political, and symbolic, happening all at once. And the timing could not be more volatile. Let me explain how we got here. Since leaving the White House, Mar-a-Lago has been Trump's fortress. This wasn't just his residence. It was his command center. This is where Republican leaders came to seek approval, where political strategies were mapped out, where fundraising happened behind closed doors. Mar-a-Lago wasn't a home. It was a shadow White House. Since January 2021, nearly every major Republican figure made the pilgrimage to Palm Beach. Kevin McCarthy came begging for support. Party officials lined up to stay in Trump's favor. Donors wrote seven-figure checks under crystal chandeliers. If you wanted relevance in Trump's Republican Party, Mar-a-Lago was the door you had to walk through. But for the last 6 months, prosecutors were quietly building a case that would turn that fortress into a liability. The charge: financial fraud. According to court documents filed today, Trump valued Mar-a-Lago at $1.8 billion when applying for loans. But when it came time to pay taxes, suddenly, that same property was worth just $27 million. That's not creative accounting. That's not aggressive valuation. That's what prosecutors call criminal fraud. The investigation started with the New York Attorney General, but things escalated fast when federal authorities uncovered evidence tied to interstate banking fraud. And then came today's bombshell. At 4:47 p.m. Eastern Time, Judge Sandra Chen, a Bush-appointed federal judge with a reputation for being tough and meticulous, signed the emergency seizure order. This wasn't a symbolic move. The order doesn't just freeze Mar-a-Lago, it strips Trump of operational control. A court-appointed receiver now oversees the property. Trump can't host political events, can't use it as a campaign hub, and incredibly, he can't even access certain areas without supervision. Federal marshals are already on site. They've locked down the main ballroom where Trump was scheduled to host a high donor event tomorrow night. That alone is unprecedented, and this didn't come out of nowhere. Back in late October, financial reporting painted a grim picture of Trump's finances. According to Forbes, Trump's liquid assets had dropped to historic lows. Most of his wealth was tied up in properties, drowning in debt, or already entangled in lawsuits. Mar-a-Lago was different, that it was one of the last Trump properties still generating positive cash flow. Take that away, and the entire structure starts to wobble. Prosecutors knew that, and they moved. The seizure order states Trump engaged in a pattern of fraudulent representations that caused substantial harm to financial institutions and violated federal banking laws. Judge Chen didn't hedge her words. She wrote that Trump demonstrated willful disregard for legal and ethical boundaries in pursuit of personal enrichment. That language matters. Federal judges don't speak like that casually. This wasn't sealed quietly either. The order was filed publicly. And in a move almost unheard of, Judge Chen scheduled a press conference for tomorrow morning. Legal experts say this signals she wants to cut off Trump's usual strategy, crying persecution before facts can land. And then came Warren Buffett. 90 minutes after the seizure order, Buffett released a rare public statement. The 94-year-old billionaire said, "When you build a business on deception, eventually the bill comes due. I've watched this situation carefully, and what we're seeing is the natural consequence of treating business like a con game rather than a trust relationship." That sentence alone rattled the financial world. Buffett went further. He revealed he's been privately warning investors for months to stay away from Trump properties. The fundamentals simply aren't there, he said. Then the line that hit hardest: "This isn't about politics, it's about math." Buffett almost never speaks like this. He avoids political controversy. He avoids naming individuals. But people close to him say he sees Trump as a politically but ethically. One Berkshire Hathaway board member told CNBC that Buffett views Trump as an existential threat to the credibility of American capitalism itself. And if this feels familiar, it should, because we've seen this movie before. Jeff Sessions, one of Trump's earliest allies, was discarded the moment he followed the law. Bill Barr went from protector to enemy the second he refused to back election lies. Mike Pence gave 4 years of loyalty, then became a target when he wouldn't overturn democracy. Kevin McCarthy humiliated himself at Mar-a-Lago only to be abandoned when it mattered most. This is the pattern. Total loyalty until the moment you won't break the law. Now, Trump's financial enablers are next. Banks are distancing themselves. Accountants are scrambling. Lawyers are lawyering up because prosecutors say this fraud went on for decades. The 197-page filing outlines a routine scheme: inflate values for loans, deflate them for taxes. Mar-a-Lago wasn't the exception. Trump Tower, golf courses, his personal apartment. Same playbook. DUCHA Bank, Trump's longtime lender, finally cooperated after years of silence. Internal emails are devastating. One executive wrote in 2017, "We all know these numbers are fantasy, but the fees are too good to pass up." That email alone could lead to criminal charges. At first, Trump brushed it off, called it a witch hunt, promised destruction. But behind the scenes, panic set in. According to Politico, emergency meetings inside Trump Organization became frantic. Cash was drying up. Legal bills were crushing. Trump values one thing above all else: his image as a brilliant businessman. Watching federal marshals seize Mar-a-Lago shatters that illusion. And then Trump made the move that sealed his fate. Instead of negotiating, he attacked, claimed immunity, challenged jurisdiction, demanded the judge recuse herself. Judge Chen was not amused. Now Trump is trapped. 5-10, risk losing everything. Settle and admit wrongdoing. Either way, the myth collapses, and this has massive political consequences. Moderate Republicans see an exit ramp. Hardcore MAGA supporters see conspiracy. Major donors are already walking. Ken Griffin pulled support, saying he can't back anyone facing credible fraud allegations. Then Buffett delivered the final blow, he revealed. Berkshire Hathaway was approached in 2019 about Trump properties. They walked away. The numbers didn't add up. Let that sink in. Warren Buffett said no. The legal system moved fast because urgency mattered. Documents secured. Computers seized. Fraud halted. Legal analysts across the spectrum agree the order is solid, even Trump-friendly. Experts admit the evidence is overwhelming. This isn't just about Trump. It's about whether anyone is above the law, because if decades of fraud lead to nothing, the message is clear. Power buys immunity, and that would change America forever. Right now, the system is being tested in real time. The stakes couldn't be higher, and this story, this moment, is far from over.